Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the West Ham Way YouTube channel with myself, Riley Finch, and Mark Carlaw. Mark, today we're talking about the group stage drama. I mean, mate, Denmark, Belgium, Germany, obviously, controversially, Germany are not going to be at the World Cup knockouts for the
it's painful, isn't it? Very painful.
second World Cup running, which is just a beautiful thing to see as an England fan. Obviously, no grudges held. But there's been some, I mean, I cannot remember a group stage where we've seen so many shocks. I mean, what was it? Yes, I think the day before, Spain and Germany at one point were going out of a group with Costa Rica and Japan in it. I mean, Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, for Christ's sake. I mean, it's been an absolutely mental group stage. And to be fair, for a World Cup that a lot of us snubbed at, to be fair. I mean, a lot of us weren't very hyped up for the World Cup. But it has produced, hasn't it?
Oh, mate, it's been brilliant, like you say. And let's be honest, isn't it? The group stages of these tournaments are usually the bit of the boring bit. You kind of want to get through it. Like, I never really get too excited about group games. You know, you always think, I can't wait for the last, knockout stages. This is when it really gets exciting. But you're right. Like, the group stage has been epic. Like, it's been so many shockers. I mean, obviously, the Germany was just fantastic. We've got to talk about that as well. Can we please talk about Germany first? Because what did you make of the controversial Japan goal? I mean,
is it controversial?
I mean, obviously, it was going to be deemed controversial because it was ridiculous. I mean, we're talking like a hair. It's like the line, but I mean, rules are rules. I mean, they looked at it, the VAR looked at it, and they deemed the ball in. But wasn't it just absolutely brilliant? The fact it had to be Germany as well, that's what sent them out. It's just amazing.
I mean, look, it happened to us, Frank Lampard, years and years ago. This has been years in the making. I know I saw you have a cheeky dig on Twitter, as you do. But
no, innocent, nothing.
At the end of the day, the ball was in, so you can be upset about it. But the ball was in. It's just the way it is. Yes, it's an awful way to lose a game of football, especially in a game that they actually weren't playing. To be fair,
I know, because they won 4-2, didn't they, in their game?
But I'd probably argue you probably should have beaten Japan in the first place. So how much can you really blame that sort of result? And obviously Spain pretty much had gone through at that point anyway, so they probably weren't that bothered by the result. But yeah, there was just, I mean, that game especially was just, I mean, I think as well, one game we have to talk about is Uruguay-Ghana because
that was fantastic.
That had everything riding on it. For those who don't know, I'm sure years ago, there was a quarter-final, last sort of kick of the game, realistically. It was 1-1 Ghana-Uruguay. Ball comes in, Luis Suarez just swipes at the ball, gets a red card, and is sent off, and it's a penalty. Asamoah Gyan, I think his name is, misses the penalty, and Uruguay eventually knock out Ghana. And obviously Suarez celebrates. I think he said in an interview, "Oh well, I didn't miss the penalty, so I don't know why I should be sorry." On it,
yeah.
And then they play last night.
Yeah.
Ghana get a penalty to go 1-0 up. And Andrew Ayew misses the penalty. They lose 2-0. But South Korea beat Portugal, so Uruguay are out anyway. It's
amazing, wasn't it?
It's every single day this is going on. Every single day. Australia beating Denmark, them going home early. Belgium lost to Morocco. I mean, look at Morocco. I mean,
Belgium was shocking, weren't they? Really poor in this
World Cup. I mean, I'm the for our university stuff, we have each person got assigned a team, and I chose Belgium correspondent, because it was one of the decent teams left. Watched every single game of Belgium, did columns on Belgium, like edited everyone's work on Belgium, and they were awful. They were absolutely dog. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, look, I mean, they had claims that they were an aging squad, but Kevin De Bruyne, when asked if their squad can win the World Cup, he said, "No chance, we're too old." And I just think that's horrendous mentality from a player who, realistically, not the captain, but is going to be a very focal point in that Belgium squad.
Yeah.
I mean, that was shocking to me. But I think England, Morocco, and France. Was it France? No. It might have been Spain, actually. Morocco, Spain, and England are the only teams to have finished on 7 points. And we also have the joint highest goals with Spain, with 9 goals in the competition. So, England-wise, we smashed it.
Really well. I mean, I'm not going to get carried away. I don't think that I really think we should learn our lessons to keep getting too carried away. I mean, it's really. I mean, also, we've got some, tough game in Senegal to come up. So, and that's just going to be difficult. But you're right. I mean, we did really well overall in the group. I know just the US performance and result was a little bit disappointing, just because it was just such a flat game. But ultimately, it's been a very good group performance from England. Wales were really poor, weren't they? I was expecting a lot more from them for the World Cup, but they just went out with. They just never looked like they were really got going, did they at all? Really shocking. But mate, some of the shocks have been unbelievable. I mean, as you say, I mean, Germany to go out has been amazing. Uruguay as well, obviously we talked about. But you're looking at it now. I mean, if you had to then pick the teams looking forward that you genuinely think are the biggest threats, I mean, France and Brazil, you'd imagine probably are our biggest threats, I would say, on paper. But because it's kicked up so many strange results, you just don't know. Like, I mean, I've got Morocco in the sweepstakes, so I'm hoping they do all right, to be honest.
Mate, I mean, listen, Morocco are one of them teams. They're so well drilled. I mean, they're like a Brighton. They're so well drilled. They know how to defend. If they get a lead, it's going to be very difficult for teams to kind of try and break them down. And also, I think they're quite good at breaking. They've got En-Nesyri, who's a very good poacher. Ziyech is performing for his nation as usual. And obviously, Aguerd, he's been incredible. He did score that own goal, but he has been incredible for Morocco, an absolute rock at the back for them. So I think they're going to be a very difficult team to break down. I think the Aussies as well. It's their first World Cup where they've actually qualified for the round of 16 since 2006, their golden generation of Kuehl and Tim Cahill. So I think they've got a point to prove, and they seem like one of those teams where they're going to nick the early goal because they've just got so much passion. They're so up for it. So I think France and Brazil, they came into the tournament as the favourites, and I think Brazil have got a pretty easy run to the final, to be honest, with all the big teams that have dropped out. I think they lost to Cameroon last night, but they were heavily rested.
They did, they're massive. Well, obviously Lucas Paqueta.
I mean, look what happens when you take him off the pitch. Obviously, invaluable player for Brazil. That's why he was on the bench. France also put out a second-string team, and they lost to Tunisia, which again is, even a France second-string team should not be losing to Tunisia, to be honest with you.
No. Well, I think it's a good time to play in France, really. I mean, ultimately, like they're missing some massive players. You got Kante's out, obviously Benzema's out. So I mean, if you're going to play France, this is a really good tournament to be playing them. Obviously, Mbappe is the issue for any team to deal with, but as long as you can deal with him and handle him, then really, I think Griezmann's. He's aging a fair bit now. I don't think he's the player he once was. He's obviously a good player, but I don't think he's quite where he used to be. So I actually think this is a great time to be playing France. I think if we do come up against them, I'd fancy us. But again, like I've just said, I don't want to get ahead of myself because this World Cup is kicking up really.
You're saying we're only just going to win the World Cup, is what you're saying?
Just.
Only just. Yeah,
definitely though, but just.
Yeah, only just. But I mean, to be fair, we will be playing France next if we beat Senegal.
Yeah.
I actually think Senegal, if I'm going to predict it, which I have, it's going to be 1-1 and it's going to go to extra time. And I'm not sure. It's got one of those, it's got like a Colombia feel about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
We need to win this game to sort of not kickstart because we've already done so well. And I just remembered it's not Spain that got 7 points. It's Netherlands. They've got 7 points in their group stage run.
They're actually a bit of a dark horse, aren't they, Netherlands this season? You know what I mean? Because they've come into overly too much expectation, but they seem to be looking pretty good.
No, I mean, they've got Cody Gakpo, obviously Van Dijk. They've got some really good players, but, they beat Qatar, which, let's be honest, wasn't really...
Yeah, that was literally
never going to be... Yeah, it was never going to be a sort of big shock. I mean, they beat Senegal, which Senegal were a decent side, and I think they beat Ecuador and they drew to Senegal, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they do. They do look pretty decent. The only thing that's quite sad about this World Cup, like last time, is no Italy again, which is always a bit disappointing because you do like to see the Italians. I don't know. I mean, I don't like playing them, but I mean,
is it disappointing?
But I mean, only in terms of like just watching the games. But yeah, I've got to say though as well, which I'm really pleased about, is that there was so much controversy controversy going into this World Cup. And we were talking about it, weren't we? Beginning with reporters being harassed on day one and all this. I'm glad that all seems to have calmed quite fast. It actually does seem like the fans are actually having a good time and enjoying it. I've not seen many reports of issues too much. I mean, you're going to have a number, obviously, because that's just natural. But it does seem that overall, it's been pretty positive. And even some of the social media posts, I don't know if you've seen, did you see those Everton fans? I don't know if you saw the post when they went to some Qatari's like mansion and there was tigers there and all
they were
this.
In search of some beers in Doha. And, some fella said that they should go to, I don't think it was a Qatari. It was like someone a little bit higher up. And they thought,
it was like a prince or something. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was like, it's amazing.
And they thought, sod it, we'll go there, see if we can find some beers. And by the end of the night, he had a like baby cub lying in his lap. I mean, only a Scouser could pull that off, really. But
mate, it was brilliant. I mean, that really did. And the reports I'm hearing back and everything you see online from people that are there are all very positive. That's saying that it's a good atmosphere there. People are drinking, they are having a good time, and it's not actually been too much of an issue. So it's really pleasing to see that it's actually come across better than we all anticipated, because there was such a negative. It kind of reminds me of the Russian World Cup, when there was, again, very similar to that. Obviously, you had the war that was previous to that in Crimea and all this thing going on and a lot of cloud hanging over the country. And you're thinking, oh, great. Obviously, they've got same situation with the LGBT community and all this kind of stuff. And it was looking a bit concerning, do you know what I mean? And then I remember that World Cup being brilliant and it was really well received. And obviously, sadly, things have obviously changed in that country quite severely now. But, it's good. I think it's been a good advert for Qatar, really, all of this so far. You know what I mean? I'm not seeing it as too bad because it seems that the fans have been welcomed and they're actually having a good time. And that's what you want to see rather than it being what we were worried it was going to be like, which was, although I would say this whole stuff about the armbands and One Love stuff. How can that? I mean, I've got to ask you the opinion because before I know we're going slightly off topic here. How can you threaten a player with a yellow card for wearing that? Surely that's just a made-up rule that you just made up on the spot. If you wear that, you're booked. Well, surely you can't just book someone because they're wearing something you don't like. Do you know what I mean? If it's a style, if it just says captain on your armband but it has a colour on it, that can't be in a rule book, can it? Sure, you'd think they go, well, yeah, section B says it's got a rainbow on it, mate. It's a yellow card. Do you know what I mean? You can't just make a rule.
I don't know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's just those sorts of rules are so intrinsic to, Qatar. I mean, would we allow Qatari players to wear a, no One Love armband if they came to England?
I do hear what you're saying, but I mean, I can't imagine us saying, but if you wear it, you get a booking as you walk on the pitch. It just seems a bit strange.
Do you not think if Qataris somehow ended up at the next World Cup and they turned up with armbands saying, no gay love, or, something about the, I don't know what law it is exactly, but something about,
Like if it was spouting hate or something, saying,
do you honestly think that
whatever
the FA would allow it? Because
I do understand what you're saying. I totally get your argument. I not the argument. I'll get your point because I mean it's a double-edged sword. All this there's two sides to all this, and we need to sort of. It can't always just be one-sided all the time, and we just go, well, that we're right, you're wrong, that's it. The problem you've got with it is that theoretically, really, let's be honest, mentally and probably in terms of their society, they're probably quite a way behind. You know what I mean? In terms of our development, where we are in terms of the Western world, we're probably slightly more advanced in terms of more acceptance and moving things forward. Because if you rewind back in this country, to the 1970s, it was a different world. You know what I mean? There was no, the communities were like the gay community was shunned. Do you know what I mean? And absolutely not accepted at all. So you have to accept things change over time.
But even look at America, mate. I mean, America has such intrinsic gay laws because of Christianity. It's not. It's no need. We're not trying to attack a religion.
By the way, the next World Cup is in America. So are we going to go over there with the same ferocity regarding their gun laws and the fact that certain states in America don't accept the gay community? So are we going to go into uproar over it? Because I would say we probably wouldn't. They'd probably just go, well, that's the way America are. We get on with it. Because that's what's going to happen. And you can kind of guarantee that's going to be the attitude. We're not going to be in arms and going uproar over going to America. So I think sometimes we do sometimes need to stand back a little bit and go, look, these people probably need a bit of educating, a bit of saying, look, you've got these views. They're not really accepted anymore in the Western world. We're moving on from that. You need to sort of try and catch up a little bit. But at the same time, like you say, they're not just going to change their whole society just because English are walking in and going, well, we don't agree with that. They're going to go, oh, well, fair enough. We've never agreed with this, but because you've said it's bad, accepted, we're going to do it. That's just never going to happen. And like you say, like if it was the other way round, if they came to our country and said, well, we don't agree with drinking beer at football grounds, we wouldn't go, oh, we'll throw them down the drain then. We ain't drinking anymore. We'd never do that. We'd go, well, no, this is our way we live. Get over it. So it is a little bit like that. But all I was saying, in my nutshell, I'm quite pleased how it's actually gone down. Do you know what I mean? It does feel, touch wood to date, there doesn't seem to be too much drama out there. It seems pretty good. So I'm chuffed, mate. I'm loving the World Cup. Really, really into it, which I'm miles more than I expected I would be.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very exciting group stages, and all I can say is bring on the knockouts.
Oh, mate, I'm buzzing for it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers.